I have a man that has a 17-1 record with 6 KOs. He's currently ranked number 10 in the IBF junior middleweight contenders. He goes by the nickname Boss Man. That's none other than Ardreal Holmes Jr. Ardreal, appreciate you taking time to come on today, man.
Hey man, how you
I'm doing
doing, man?
great.
Appreciate being on.
Absolutely. Well, let's get right to this, man. The first question I have to start this interview off with. You have the nickname Boss Man. How'd that come to be?
Um, 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 my granddad actually named it to me. I kind of forgot. Um, but it kind of come from my father, my dad's name,
Okay.
and so I kind of was just running with it. Just like on Instagram, but because one of my guys from the amateurs, Kenny Sims, had the name Boss Man, so I didn't want to use it as my boxing name. So I was just like
Mm.
brainstorming, looking for names, and then one of my guys, Leon Lawson, was like, "Man, what you doing looking for a name? Boss Man, that's the money name, And we just kind of ran with it.
All right. Well, I want to go into your most recent fight. Obviously, you're going up against Erickson Lubin. 11th round, you obviously get KO'd in that fight. But I want to go through that night. Now that you look back on it, you've been able to rewatch the film, observe it. What's your thoughts on your performance that night?
Hey, fighting a loss is a loss, a win is a win. We don't
Right.
want to give 100 excuses. You know, um, I know what I did wrong in camp, and so it's just something to learn from.
Right. When you go through this aspect of having your very first loss in your career, for a lot of boxing, that's a big deal, losing that O. When you talk from the mental side of things, have you adjusted pretty fine to that? It seems like you have, but what's your mindset now that you look at that, knowing that, okay, you've now suffered your first loss of your career?
Uh, it wasn't bad as I thought it'd be. I thought the
Okay.
sun wasn't gonna come up at first after that first loss, man. But the greats got losses, and
Yep.
they learn from them. So it's just about how you bounce back. That's all.
When you look at that fight specifically, you said obviously you can learn, you grow from it. What's the biggest thing that you feel like you've learned from it you're now going to incorporate into your career moving forward?
Um, I just feel like I kind of like overdid it in camp because I never been in a 12 round fight. So I feel like I did everything times 10. So I feel like, in a sense, I did it myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so that's why it's just something to grow from. Other than that, um, it's back to the drawing board.
All right. So I have to ask you then, we talk about your future plans then. You're 30, if I'm not mistaken, you're turning 31 here now in a few weeks though. But when you talk about that aspect, what do you have in store? What do you want to do in terms of your next fight? When do you want to get back to the ring? What does that look like for yourself?
Um, I want to get back to the ring as soon as possible.
Okay.
I think we be in like the last quarter of the year, and hopefully it's just against another top contender. You know what I mean? Hopefully it's with somebody that's in the top 10. Uh, and, same route. Just a bump in the road.
So you'd say your game plan then is you want to hop right back into the mix of things. You don't want to go do a tune-up fight, nothing like that. You want to get right back to it?
No, I'll be 31 in a minute. You know what I mean? We don't have no more time
Hmm.
like a tuna fight. We got to get right back to the fight. So, yeah, the sooner the better.
Obviously, you are ranked in the IBF, so I have to assume it would probably have to be somebody within the IBF that you'd be looking at for that aspect. Who are some names that you have then? Is there somebody that you have an eyes on that you'd say, you know what, that's a guy that I'd like to go out there and fight next?
Uh, I haven't really even been like looking at the rankings as of late.
Right.
Just kind of anybody. I don't
Okay.
care if these, from over here or these foreign. Anybody at 154.
So you're
All
100% open, regardless of where it's at around the world, you'd be okay to go in there then?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Now, I have the list pulled up right now. If you want to hear it, throw some names out there, see if any of these appeal to you at all. You have a couple different guys. Charles Conwell's obviously in the mix. He's coming off a loss recently. Nikita Zoo's in the mix. You have Keith Thurman, Jesus Ramos, Callum Walsh, Sohei Bochuk, Connor Ben, Josh Kelly, Erickson Lubin, obviously you just fought, and then Bakram is the champion there. Cayman Argiaco, he's from UK. Would any of those names stand out to you the most that you'd like? A Bass
Eric
Baru as
Lubin.
well.
Eric,
Erickson Lubin?
Eric Lubin. I want to do that again. So, um, those, I mean, all of them be like. I feel like all of them be fun, exciting fights.
Okay.
But if I had my pick, I'll go after Thurman.
Who was that? He cut out right when you said that.
Oh no, I said all of them will be fun fights. But if I had my pick, I'll go straight for Thurman. because he's the biggest name, and I feel like that'll bring me the furthest in my career.
If that fight were to get made, would that be next? That'd be in the future. How do you see that fight playing out?
Uh, just me outboxing him, not letting him touch me with nothing, and you know, my next fight is gonna be. I feel like I'm gonna surprise a lot of people. So yeah, I'm just eager to get back.
You say you're ready to surprise people. Why is that? Why do you feel so confident that your bounce back, your return back to the ring, will be something that's going to surprise people?
Because a lot of people who know me know, they feel like I didn't fight like myself. So I've been talking to other pros about how to get ready for a championship fight, 12 round
Right.
fights, and things like that. And they say I was doing it all wrong, like completely wrong. Like I remember I was sparring one time. It was a young guy came up to me like, "Why are you doing so many rounds?" I'm like, "I'm in a 12 round fight.
Mm-hmm.
Never been in a 12 round fight before." So I was doing 30, 40 rounds a week, and it was just way too much. So
Okay.
I feel like when I tone it down and just stay disciplined, and I feel like everything's gonna be way different.
All right. Well, I want people to get to know your story as well because I want people to get to know who you are. And so we head all the way back, Flint, Michigan. That's where you've been raised, grown up, live out there. When you talk about the boxing scene out there, we know obviously the face of boxing out there would be Clarissa Shields, which she's accomplished, the greatest woman of all time, in my opinion. She's the face there. So, and there's great boxing pedigree from that area specifically. When you talk about growing up out there in the boxing scene, what was that like?
Uh, it was nice because like we got another champion, Joe Bird.
Right.
I said Joe Bird, that's his dad. Chris
Yeah.
Bird,
Yeah.
the Real brothers. Our city's so small, and a lot of these guys they kind of like stay like on the outskirts. So like you was able to see them a lot. Like Andre and Anthony, they was riding the gym with us early on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like seeing those type of guys, and then Clarissa Shields was also my teammate. So it's like seeing everybody do what they do. It just felt like it was real. You know what I mean? Like it was like really accomplished. Like I can accomplish it. Like it's a real thing, and it wasn't just like just maybe it can happen. It's like man, this can really happen.
Right. When you get to go outside of Flint, Michigan, you get to represent, because obviously in the greater scheme of things, you're representing Michigan, but specifically, obviously, Flint, Michigan. When you represent that, as you said, it's not a massive area, but yet there's so much talent from there. What comes with that, and what is it like representing Flint, Michigan?
Uh, it's everything. We so small. So when you do hear somebody, playing football or boxing or whatever they're doing, it's small and it's like you almost expect it to be the best. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just carry that with me, man. Like I just feel like uh, uh, I don't know, man. It's just it's great representing my city. I just said.
Speaking on Clarissa Shields, having her be a part of your team, someone that you can obviously learn from a lot, what has that been like, and what's her impact been on your life?
Can you repeat that? Cut off.
Yeah, yeah. And specifically speaking on Clarissa Shields, having her be part of your team, learning from her, also being able to improve her as well. How has that benefited you as a fighter moving forward?
Um, it's been great. Well, we're not on the same team no more. We got different coaches as of now.
Okay,
But
right, right,
just watching her come up, it's just been great. Just seeing her win all the championships, it's just kind of like dang, we kind of like got like some of the same teachings, and it's
right,
possible for us. You know what I mean? And she's just kind of like one of those girls that show you, the sky's the limit. Anything's possible.
right. I want to go into your pro career now because you end up turning pro 22 years old. Why was that the time you want to turn pro? Why did you want to turn pro at that point in your life?
Cause it was nothing
Right.
left, to do. It was kind of asking me to stay amateur until what 20. Well, they wanted me to stay amateur to like 2020 for the next
For the
Olympics, but I'm
Olympics,
like, no.
gotcha.
Like I won nationals. I fought in every tournament. I had like 100 fights, and I was the Olympic alternate. Uh,
Hmm.
so it was just like I'm not gonna stay amateur for 4 more years and do the same tournaments. I was like, it's time to turn it up.
As you progress through your career, something occurs in November 2019. You have a fight. You then take 2.5 years nearly off. You return back through March 2022. What led to that layoff? Why did you want to take that much time out of the boxing?
Oh man, it wasn't up to me for sure.
Mm,
It was horrible. You know, I didn't know I would keep fighting or what. I was just, and then it was like COVID, so everything was shut down.
right.
We couldn't get nothing. So yeah, it definitely wasn't my choice, and I hope it never happened again.
When you got put in that predicament where obviously, like you said, you wanted to stay active, you wanted to keep fighting, but then you have to take off 2.5 years. What were you doing in your off time then? And how did you deal with that from a mental aspect, having to deal with I can't pursue exactly what I want to go out there and do?
Man, almost went crazy to be
Mm,
honest. You know, it was. I ain't gonna say it was a bad time. I had my son in that time.
right.
That kind of just made me hungry again. I would say so. Yeah, it just made me hungry. Like, dang, when I get back, I'm really gonna show out. And my first call back, I had like a real tough fight. Um, Most guys would take like little tune ups and things like that, but I just wanted to jump right into the fight.
Mm. If you were placed in that same predicament once again, we're going back to right after November 2019 or even early 2020. Is there anything you believe you could have done differently to possibly get back to the ring quicker? And if so, what would that have been?
Nah, it's nothing you could do really.
Yeah.
Um, it's just the business side of
Mm,
it. Something's not right. You might have uh, promotion issues or whatever, or your promoter might be having issues getting TV time, whatever the case may be. You sit, So um, I feel like I did everything I could do on my end, like
okay.
just staying ready, like just staying in the gym, like keeping my weight down, things like that. So yeah, I feel like I did everything I can do.
Can you elaborate on the business component of boxing? Because obviously, a lot of fans they don't understand that component a lot. People just wonder why guys not getting in the ring. It could be big fights aren't happening for one reason or another. It could be guys staying inactive for a long time, like you had. When you talk about the business side of things, how have you learned to kind of go through this time, the turmoil, I should say, of all the business components of boxing throughout your career now?
Um, Only thing I can say that we can do about it is not take it personal.
All right.
You can't take things personal. You might have they might say, all right, you fight in June. June go by, you're not fighting. You might not fight in December.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, we not making millions of dollars, so the money goes by fast. So it's really just staying patient and not taking things so personal. You know what I
All
mean?
right.
Um, yeah. Just putting your boots on and keeping your head down.
You also have to manage different things, having other work jobs, different things of that sort. How do you balance all these things? How do you still maintain being a top 15 ranked contender in the middleweight division and still balancing other aspects outside of that?
Um, well, it's not really that hard because I don't have many bills. Like early on, I was able to get a home and things like that. So
Gotcha.
um, I'm not paying like rent, mortgage, nothing like that. So it's kind of like I can work, 2 3 days out the week and be cool and just be in the gym the rest of the week. So
Gotcha.
it's just a blessing really because I know a lot of guys they got to work a full time job, then they got to turn around and pay a promoter to get on their card. So yeah, I
Mhm.
feel like I'm just in a blessed spot.
All right, so we kind of get back into current time now. I know we were talking about what you want to do in the immediate future. Keith Thurman's the guy you talked about a little bit ago. But if you were to say, let's look at the next year, year and a half that set us up going into 2026 per se, 2027, my apologies. What do you want to be? Where do you see yourself at that point in time? Where do you see yourself accomplishment wise, standing wise? Like, where do you see yourself heading into 2027?
Now I'm heading into 2027. Um, Hopefully, with by the end of 2027, I could have got like at least three names on my resume, three good names, and hopefully I can be back in the mandatory position or a championship fight.
Mhm.
That's the goal overall.
I know when I asked you the question beforehand about who you want to fight, you said obviously if it was hypothetically possible, Erickson Lubin's the guy you want. When you look at the future now, obviously that fight wouldn't happen right now or in the immediate future, but is that, if you could pick any fight right now, would that be the fight you want more so than anything else?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, he beat me uh, uh, in the national finals, the Golden
Right.
Gloves in 2013. Then I just lost to him again, so it's just like one of the things like I want my lick back. So
Mm.
yeah, but really, um, he's in the top 10. So you know, we might run into each other one way or another. So it's
Right.
all good. So really, anybody that's in the top 10.
All right. I have to ask the other aspect. I actually forgot that when we were talking about the Erickson Lubin fight, when you do have somebody that you're going up against that you have long history with, dating all the way back to your amateur days, does that add anything extra, some kind of different motivation or juice to that fight?
Yeah. I feel like it add like a little motivation,
All
just a
right.
little bit, but not really.
All right.
Sometimes you want to get the person back for sure, especially if they beat you and they
Yeah.
talk a lot of stuff, so you just want to get them back. But at the end of the day, it's business. You know?
Right. Well, I got one final question for you, and that is talking about your legacies. The question I'm wrapping up every interview with. And so, when you talk about the day that you end up putting down the gloves from boxing, whenever that day does come, what is that you want to be remembered for what you have accomplished both inside and outside of the ring?
Uh, I would say just helping my people, giving back to
Mm.
my community, and you know, for me, just being a champion.
All right.
I don't care if it's one belt. Just being a champion. I feel like you know, it's thousands of boxers. You know what I mean? And a lot of them don't come near being a champion. So uh, if I can get that under my belt, that'd be great for me.
I love it. Well, Adriel, appreciate you taking time to come on in, man. It's been a blessing having you on. I cannot wait to see what God's got next for you, man.
Man, really appreciate you, brother.
Of
Take
course.
care.
You as well, man. Talk to you later. God bless.
Yeah, appreciate it.